might be just really, really good, but we just haven't seen them perform just yet. But enough for that for now, because now we are going to go straight into game number 2. And straight away, we're going straight into that banning phase.
We can see that they already started, but right now, Team Nightmares have learned from their mistakes. Right now, there is no joy anymore for Team SMG, and Guinevere is still like, it is like almost forbidden so far. So I think that we will get used to having Guinevere in the ban list, and even though we haven't witnessed Nolan in the last match, again, Nolan right now is in the ban list, while he was the most banned hero in the MPLI.
We're seeing a bit of a contrast right here, man. For Nightmare, they banned a lot of the support heroes in the first game. But now they're banning away the Joy and the Terizla. They're just doing more respect bans, but also still, they're going with the 1-1 ban as well. It's almost like the second pick always wants to ban away the support heroes. But for Team SMG, that's just not the case, man. They're going for the Nolan as well.
They are going for the Nolan, and I think that at some point, what are you laughing at?
The audience there, the work there to teach their daughter, I'm assuming that's their daughter, the thumbs up, man. You know, that's probably her favorite, what's that, the sticker in game? You know, the thumbs up sticker?
Okay,
just
like,
big thumbs
Sorry
up.
to derail you guys, I was just impressed with the, you know, the thumbs up sign out there.
The effort.
The simple things in life.
For me, I think that right now the only thing that's changed for me is that I got used to see the Bruno in the ban list for Team SMG. So maybe, just a maybe, Team Nightmare will pull off that pick and they will make Team SMG, like, I don't know, will they deal with it or like, will they fall down to it? I don't know, to be honest.
Well, here's the thing. They're going to go ahead and pick up Bruno right away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you were asking that question here, Yasu, I was like, you know, well, one, we know that Bruno, especially from the most recent thing, the MPLI, right? It was a hot commodity. And it is here. It's left open because of the fact that we see a little bit of change. This is the change I wanted to see from Nightmare, right? This time around, they don't go and focus completely on the hero pool of Miko. They actually just go with some of these bans. They don't want to deal with the Joy anymore. We saw that pop up. And they lock in a great first pick, the Bruno.
Now as an exchange, they go, they let go of the Angela Baxia combo. This is a disgusting combo, man. It's always such a pain to deal with. A tanky Baxia with insane clear, insane speed, augmented by the Angela as well. We'll have to see, man. Will Team Nightmare still go for a Faramis or even a Mathilda, by the way, which is still very much available?
For me, I think they have the disease and the medicine at the same time. They have the healing meta, but again, they have as the jungler the, like by default, the anti-heal, like
from
the anti-heal
Baxia
bomb. You know, like he's an anti-heal, full of anti-heal with the first skill. Everything, I guess.
Yeah, it's
even
passive.
when you guess, it's passive. Like the first, second skill, and even the ultimate, everything just anti-heal. So Team Nightmare will not get the best use if they go for a support.
Well, it seems like they're going with the power pick. It's still going to be the Khalid, just like Yasu, technically.
Yeah.
His real name is Khalid, we found out. But now with the Valentina, it's almost like they're trying to get a strong mid lane source of damage, but they're also still worried about the Faramis making an appearance. With the Valentina available, that can be a counter technically. And if you're looking at the hero so far, at least, Nightmare still has a lot more crowd control compared to SMG. So if they're banking on a team fight strategy, this might work. But SMG, they might not even let it go that far.
Oh, there it is, the signature hero. I don't, you know, not only of the players, but also the fact that it's M5 hero, right? So we get to see, hopefully, that sweet, sweet skin that we've been talking about already. But at the same time, here's my question with this, right? The fact that Nightmare gets themselves the Valentina, who was once so strong, so sought after. It's kind of fallen off a little bit, but even looking at this, look at this. They wake up the Tigreal, Yasu.
Yeah, it was one of the forgotten picks, but Team Nightmare brings it back to life, while its last appearance in a World Championship was at M2. So Team Nightmares are actually bringing something new to the table, which is expected in an international event. So Team Nightmare have brought that Tigreal. They might even add something else. But for me, when the Valentina is there, it prevents the other teams from taking some specific big picks, because you will be afraid that your own weapon will be used against you.
That's definitely a big concern. But for SMG now, looking at the weapons that can be used against them, I guess the Angela ulti comes to mind right here. The Black Dragon form maybe, but it's not going to be as effective, as crazy. For Nightmare, they banned with the Irithel, knowing that it can be comboed with the Angela. I think Irithel alone is a bit weak, but with Angela, it's a different story. They have the Minotaur, but for SMG, it's back to that Cho. So now they're the ones aggressing, it seems like, right here. With a Baxia and Cho, that pick-up potential is quite scary. And they've banned away the Mathilda and the Diggy that can save the members of Nightmare in the middle of a pick-off attempt.
After banning that Diggy, I think it was most obvious that they will go for a crowd control pick, but having that show again makes Miko plays him once again. We'll see the way of Miko, and the Angel will be transformer, will be exchanged to be the mid lane and the magical damage for Team SMG.
I like the fact that in a way, Nightmare Esports is still kind of testing the waters, right? I like that they got the Bruno, like I said earlier. I like that they have the Valentina. Now they have a Rock. A Dairock.
Wow.
Like, the biggest curveball, I guess, in terms of lineup is obviously the Khalid. Can they make it work better for them? And to beg the question, too, Arashi, you pointed this out in the analyst segment. Are they going to go with the same emblem setup, right? What is the job here going to be this time around? And not only that, but there's the last pick as well for SMG.
A claw to round it out. This is interesting, man, because Nightmare, they're going back again to the pick-up strat. They've gone for the Dairock to ensure that they can take down the Baxia with the physical defense shred. But on the other side, now it seems like SMG, they have good pick-off, but they also have a very decent amount of AoE for a team fight. So on paper, at least, I think that SMG is a bit more flexible in how they want to play this out. For Nightmare, it's a bit more straightforward, so it all comes down to the execution.
And
this I just noticed this real quick, guys.
Yeah.
It is going to be the swap, right? Juviana is in. I didn't know if that was going to be, you know, just a typo thing, but yeah, Juviana is going to be in this time around.
Yeah, this time around we will see if it will end for Team SMG. Will they get the 2-0, the full sweep, the clean sweep against Nightmare, or will Nightmare this time show us something else and make this best of 3, or turn this best of 3 to a best of 1. Team SMG so far have proven that they can do it and they can make it. On the other hand, and also there's something interesting, Arashi, when we were in the draft. They didn't focus, Team Nightmare didn't focus on, Team SMG didn't focus on banning the junglers. So at this point, I think that the variety, or the junglers that Team Nightmare can pull off are quite a lot.
There's quite a few, actually, but they did ban the Nolan. That, to be fair, that can go anywhere at this point with how strong and flexible that hero's kit is. For Nightmare right now, I think what's kind of catching my eye is Juviana now going with a lot more aggressive of an emblem set. It's what we talked about before. And respecting the Baxia, just, you know, full dive potential. Cammy and Soso are going with the Purify. I think that's definitely the way to go. So I think they're going to try and survive the initial impact coming in from Team SMG and maybe counter-engage with Jaspin on the Grok.
Yeah, after banning that Diggy and after seeing that you will be playing against the Chu, especially the Miko's Chu, you have to bring that Purify in your team. So Nightmare so far is touching down or seeing how things are for Teams SMG.
Saksa gonna find 2easy4. Lexi makes quick work of him with the first blood going in the hands of Smooth.
It was so fast. It had just happened so fast. He took the jungler right away. Just when he showed up on the map, he was out.
And that's definitely not how Nightmare Esports want this game to go, man. If you look at their emblems, it was a Wilderness Blessing and the Agility for 2 members, and Wilderness Blessing still on 1 more member. So everyone's trying to be aggressive and roam. They have the Rupture and the Assassin emblem as well, but Team SMG are the ones getting ahead right here. And look at Saksa, man. Against 3 members, he's just rolling.
He is rolling, and maybe the odds this time will roll for them as well. So right now we'll see what will happen.
They're gonna find Miko already. Hard guard gonna come out, finds a target, 2easy. Will fall. Turtle gonna be ignored for now. Just trying to drive them back. Smooth working it. 1 versus 2. Saksa gets the turtle. Jasmine in trouble. Smooth as well. Cross for cross they go. Soso picks up the kill. Now he's on the run. Gonna get stunned there. Couple hits away. Juviana trying to help him out. Goes to the brush and is fine, but the turtle goes to Team SMG.
Smooth takes, Smooth now tastes some of his own medicine. That Valentina play was incredible, Arashi.
I mean, it was pretty good, and this is what they need to do, but Team SMG now, they just got the turtle, and technically they still came out on top right there, and they were able to chase down the members of Nightmare Esports. This is the problem with that Angela. The box here was looking so low, but with Stormy on the Angela coming in out of nowhere, that just turns the whole fight around for Nightmare Esports, and they're forced to pick. Are they going to try and secure the kill regardless, or ignore him? And that kind of choice in a split second is a lot more difficult than it seems.
Wow. I'm actually, every time you tell me what happened after a fight, I'm mesmerized by the amount of information that I might have missed. So you just said some stuff that I haven't caught by my eyes, and this is really amazing. You are really a technical and a tactical analyst.
Going for this, again, their own tactical way. SMG gets a lot out of Nightmare. I mean, this is the thing. You can already see the level disparity happening here on some of the roles, some of the lanes. But right now, Nightmare Esports holding on 4 minutes in.
Yeah, I think that they are a little bit equal, even though like right now it's 4 minutes in, or like we are 4 minutes in the game. It is actually so equal between Team SMG and Nightmare. Unlike the last game, Team SMG, after a minute from now, were in control.
Look at that play, the 1v1 Smooth, just holding his own. But Juviana, just doing a lot better, I think, in that EXPL matchup. But for how long? Saxa comes in.
Oh, here comes Saxa. Juviana does not have the Sandstorm. He is going to flick her out, though. So, right with that, he also had that hard guard being used with Sosol. Now, still working on it in this bottom lane. SMG, Miko. Looking for a target, not going to be able to find it, but the turtle is now up.
Miko had his own flicker, but actually didn't even want to use it. Team SMG safely, without any problem happening, without any, let's say, there's no fight back, or like they don't want to go for the neutral objectives, Team Nightmare.
Uh-oh, Saxa once again into the jungle of Nightmare. Has Miko there with him, but he's just going to back off for now. But with that, again, the second turtle taken for Team SMG.
Oof, for Nightmare, though, they have the negative Durance right here, but is that enough? The hard guard black share combo is still so difficult for them to really find a solution for. And for Team SMG, I think all things considered, I would expect the gold lane to be a bit bigger. I mean, this is a box share, a clear smash, but Smooth is just relentless on this huge song, man.
He is smooth. He lives up to his name, and now Jobiana
is
in
that
that
place.
place.
Once again, where he needs to be. Kill goes over to Saxa. And this is what happens, just like we saw from the previous game. This is where that snowball effect, that momentum starts to build for Team SMG.
SMG, every time they managed to control that early game, it was so hard for any team to stand up against them. And right now, and after I said it earlier, it was 1 minute away from now when Team SMG got in control. And right now, they are in charge, they are in control, they are in command.
All right, it's Saxa. It's Miko here. Into the jungle they go. Saxa going to go ahead and take it, not letting too easy for Lexi have anything. At this point, it's a little bit hard for Lexi. He's having trouble. Going to be forced out here. Sosol holding on to the hard guard himself. Now Saxa making his way to the purple.
Man, it's just such a tough situation, man. The box here, just put in your jungle constantly, is just a big problem. And I think with 2 levels down, there's no chance, man. Saxa takes it away, and too easy for Lexi. It's not looking like he's having such an easy game after all.
Yeah, he is trespassing. He is getting inside the jungle without permission. Team SMG makes the whole land of Dawn seems like it is their land, not just the land of Dawn, it is the land of SMG right now. So SMG are taking every neutral objective. They don't even need to use that retribution. Team Nightmare are just listening. They are just listening carefully to what SMG have to say.
Saxa and the rest of the squad here, even with the hard guard, not going to be enough. Nice wild charge, though, but still not enough. Cammy does go down. Miko's still going to be up here as well. It's Saxa holding the front line, and they will get that tier 1 on the top side.
But there, Smooth gets taken out, though. A good trade back by Nightmare Esports. A bit of a swing in gold, but being 2K gold lead ahead, still securing all the objectives. Still going south for Nightmare Esports. They have to try and make something happen right here. Maybe use Jasmine in a more creative manner. Get a pick-off. Make sure that you go for the prior targets. If they can find Stormy on the Angela before the hard guard gets used, that could be the golden moment they look for. But now, too easy for Lexi. Is he gonna get the orange buff?
Yeah, Yeah, I think that they want to take it to a 2v5 because right now the goal difference is not so high.
no.
Wow. Wow, that's annoying.
That's tough. Right now, it's very difficult for too easy for Lexi even to compete against his own buffs. So what more this first Lord coming up? It's Team SMG is not letting up at all, and even right now, Saksa just staying here into enemy territory. Meanwhile, Sasa is going to work on the bottom side. So can they force a situation here? Right now, Nightmare Esports just trying to hold on.
Yeah, he's just acting like he owns this place, right, Arashi?
Look at how they're cutting off Nightmare from their own targets, man. Saksa still being a huge menace, and they can't do anything, man. Nightmare let him walk away.
Yeah, they are just watching what Team SMG is doing. They are not making any reflex. There's nothing happening from the team, or like from the side of Team Nightmare. And I'm wondering, I am really wondering, what would be the turning point for Team Nightmare?
Well, one of them could be right here if they can get a kill on Saksa, especially with the damage. They gotta respect it. They do get Saksa down, but here comes Sasa with a blazing duet. Can he get back? One hit away. Soul gets that. So to answer your question, Yasu, that's it right there for Nightmare Esports.
What a massive blunder. They even lost a turret on the bottom side. You gotta respect your opponents, man. That was not it. They lost 2 members. Sasa to the fadeaway, by the way. Unfortunately for them, Nightmare won't be able to secure the Lord just yet. So SMG, they've got a second chance at this. But bro, what was that?
That was the damage. And look at too easy for Lexi. His damage right now is actually able. And you just said, Naisu, that he cannot even compete against his own jungle, or like his own buffs. But his damage right now is actually quite good. So Team Nightmare might build up on this, and Team Nightmare are actually equal, almost equal in terms of gold.
Looking at the item builds right here, it seems like it's going to be a full tank build for too easy for Lexi. He's a bit more utility based. He's just trying to make sure that Juviana and Cammy can just do as much damage as possible. On that note though, only 2 items completed for Cammy, 500 gold down from Sasa, who has his core items on the Claude and the Wind of Nature. So all these physical damage sources can be dealt with, and he has a Purify, which he was using in the previous fight. And with the Flash of the Oasis completed for Stormy, this is where they have a huge power spike if they can use it efficiently.
Oh, Juviana, not even a part of this fight here. Not sure if they can even compete against Saksa. Just going to secure that Lord. You saw that, right? I mean, I guess it was better off. Maybe Nightmare Esports just like, let's give it up. Let's continue to work from that deficit that we had in the early game.
Yeah, and also that Lord was brought to you by Kadia, and also this Lord will be for the favorite team SMG. If you look at any number, you will see that it's in the favor of Team SMG, but at any moment, with just one mistake, with just one little mistake, Team Nightmare can take the wheel. Team Nightmare can actually turn the odds towards them.
See if they can do it here. Once again, the bottom side, they go. The heart guard's there. It's 3 versus 2. Miko trying to make his way on the backside. Saksa does fall. Juviana quite low. Lord there as well. There's the blazing duet. And they're going to get whittled down. It's a double. Right there, but they trade it. It's the 2 for 2.
The hard guard versus hard guard situation, man. There's just a lot more damage available for Nightmare Esports in the middle of that fight. But trading 2 for 2, especially when you have the Lord, is bad in a way, but now with 2 members down, can Nightmare Esports stop the Lord push?
Actually, I've just looked right at the audience. We have a full stage, so everyone is waiting for this moment, whether they are here with us at the venue or they are back home. And right now, Team SMG have the opportunity to bring the first victory at the opening of the wild card back home. But again, and after you said that in the first game, I actually took note of it, Team SMG don't get the best out of the first Lord once again.
Just not ideal, man. Usually with the Lord, you want to go for a decisive play, but look at the goal difference right here, right? In a way, it's almost beneficial for Nightmare Esports how they played that out. So they gotta be a bit more respectful for that late game, the composition from Nightmare Esports, because they're meant to go for the one pickoff instead of a huge team fight. So knowing that, Team SMG cannot let Nightmare Esports get what they want, right? Make sure that they can go and take fights on their own terms and hang on to the towers, man. They just gave up a turret for no reason. If you look at the in-game equipment right here, even for Smooth, He's going full defensive after the Hunter Strike, so he's still attempting to be a frontline tank. So for Team SMG later, if Nightmare Esports can zone away or shut down Sasa in a fight, that's just the bulk of their damage already negated completely.
Yeah, Team Nightmare have that snowball ability, and they might take someone before they even start. That lured by Miko manages to go back, and now he will be back home. He will get some HP. He will get ready for the next. He will be ready for the upcoming Lord. Team SMG, and as I said it before, they don't get the best use out of the neutral objectives. And as you just mentioned, Arashi, they didn't have an ideal Lord, let's say, initiation or a fight. There wasn't a conceal, a play. But again, I want to ask you actually, Naisu. Team SMG at this moment, do you think that they will make a huge mistake?
Well, right now, it's going to be Juviana making the mistake. He is going to be quite under territory. Goes in with a flicker, gets the hit here, tries a regen, going to go down by Stormy. Can they win the battle? The objective, though. Team SMG, Saksa going to go down. Nightmare Esports could make a massive comeback here. Kami going to be in trouble. Blazing Duet comes through. Still going to be pushed off the Lord. Nightmare Esports running for the hills. Smooth and Sasa will be able to get this kill. Jasmine tries to wild charge away, and he does it. Survives for now, but gives up the Lord here to Team SMG unless Too Easy for Lexi can pull something amazing off.
Maybe he can go in and maybe he can get that retribution, but it will be just the time for Saksa to come back. A massive play, just 2 last survivors from Team Nightmare.
Was looking kind of okay for Nightmare there. They were able to use that split kind of and make Juviana just take 2 members away from the Lord. But unfortunately, they did not have the damage to really shred it down. And so they get absolutely punished, man. Cammy was in the Lord pit, and he was just cornered by Smooth. That is not how you want the fight to play out. Now with the Lord in hand, Team SMG, can they find the end? Because they don't have a long range, they don't have good siege potential. They have to go for a pickoff or an all-out fight if they really want to go and end the game with this push.
Well, the only thing that I can tell you for sure is that Miko doesn't have that flicker, so we might not, just might not see the outplay happening from Team SMG, but everything that's being built up until this moment is saying that Team SMG might have this victory with this coming Lord.
Lord going down to the bottom side. Rest of Team SMG focusing on the top here. Looking to fully expose the base of Nightmare Esports if they can. And as you mentioned, a lot of that lies here. Yasuo, flicker now available for Miko. Does he force a play here? Has the immortality as well. And Soso holding on to his own Wave of the Dragon. Lord finally taken care of.
Smooth.
Smooth gonna go in. Dragon form. There's Miko. Finds Jasmine cleanly. And now they're gonna go ahead and find this last turret of the base of Nightmare Esports. Do they push it in? Smooth gonna jump in, find Juviana. Immortality gonna be popped. They're still trying to hold on. Heart Guard gonna come through. Sasa with the Blazing Duet. Juviana trying to buy some time, keep him at bay, but can't do it. Finally, Saksa falls. Miko's immortality gonna be popped. Can they do it more? They can't. They have to back off.
Team Nightmare lives up to see another defense. What a defense from Team Nightmare, and what an engagement that wasn't actually understandable from Team SMG. What was that?
Well, they went for the pickoff, and I think, you know, with a member advantage, they can end the game. But right there, with multiple members still down, instead of using the Angela sustainability, right, the regeneration, to really push the tempo and end the game right there maybe, or cycle the death timers a bit more, they just back away so passively, it's almost shocking. I thought they were going to go absolutely aggressive, and then maybe when it looks like it's too much, they're going to back away. But they played extra safe, and still on 69% real-time win rate though, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is pretty nice, but what is nicer than this rate is that Team Nightmare now have the opportunity to flip everything around. Even though seconds ago, it was near 0%. It was somewhere around 5% that Team Nightmare will win. But having that 31% means that Team Nightmare and Team SMG have gotten into the late game phase, and now numbers wouldn't matter that much, neither the kills nor even the goals.
Jasmine. Oh, that is massive already. The wild charge expended right before this Lord fight is going to ensue. So right now, Team SMG knowing that, even though Jasmine gets back, they can work around this a couple of ways. Miko also going to be forced out of that area. Too easy for Lexi. This is going to be tough for him to battle it out with Saksa, unless SoSoul is able to find their own target. Smooth also waiting there on the side.
Yeah, they don't want that. You don't actually want the Lord. They want the team fight around the Lord. So now, Team SMG is Lord dancing.
Jasmine, once again, Miko with the moves will find Jasmine, takes him out of the picture. SoSoul still holding on to the way of Dragon himself. Smooth pops his Dragon form with the Heart Guard, and they're going to force Nightmare Esports back away from the Lord. Do they want to fight this? SoSoul might be the target, might be the one to find the target here. Team SMG still holding the Lord in the pit.
Well, the top side of the map is still pushing for the side of Team SMG, so that is something that Nightmare Esports cannot ignore. They might be sending one person there, but Team SMG, they are willing to just play the long game. They used 3 ultimates earlier, and they did not force the engage. They will be able to get the Lord right here. Smooth, he might get taken out.
Smooth, wow, look at the damage coming out from Cammy. Lord's gonna be secured though. Blazing Duet forcing Nightmare Esports back. They lost Smooth, but Team SMG gets the Lord.
They do get the Lord, and they might get the opportunity to finish this, but Team Nightmare have shown us once and over again that they are able to make that defense work, even though they don't have that clearance. But Team SMG never finishes the job, or like, at least until now, they have never finished the job.
20 seconds to go on Smooth to respawn. Team SMG might be forced to fight with the Lord as their 5th teammate instead of Smooth. Nightmare Esports, they are trying to prepare an ambush here, waiting for that potential pickoff. If they can get it, it's going to be absolutely massive for them. But Miko is always waiting on the sides, man. He might just find something. He might be the key to victory for Nightmare Esports.
Saksa gonna go towards Jasmine, but there's the response coming up from Nightmare Esports. Sasa already popping the Blazing, doing it along with the Heart Guard, gonna find the kick. Juliana's still gonna be alive. They conceal back, they have to deal with the Lord, and they know it. Team SMG is gonna go ahead and recalibrate here, recoup, and make their way to the base.
Yeah, they can make their way to the base, especially by having Smooth just respawn, and Smooth does have his Dragon. He can go in, he can make a play, and with that pressure coming from the minions, Team SMG might go in, but again, they choose to play the safer route, they choose to play it peacefully, and they want to go for the next Lord, which is 90 seconds away.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, we are just past 20 minutes here, and the gold lead is only 1,000. The longer the game goes, the more the gold lead just means nothing. Looking at the items right here, for the most part, standard builds from Stormy on the Angela. We thought he might go for a bit more damage, knowing that he is the only magical damage source on that team, aside from the box here, but he's going with a full supportive build. Maybe that could be changed here in order to get something. On the other side, SoSoul, late game Valentina, we say it every time, it's very subtle, but it does a lot of damage. And surprisingly, the Terrify, the crowd control that she provides, could be massive in the middle of a big team fight. So now it's a bit weird. I feel like Team SMG has had opportunities to really force Nightmare Esports into a tough spot, but they haven't been doing so. So Nightmare Esports now, if they can prep the waves properly, they are the ones that might be able to force Team SMG to a fight around the Lord Pit.
Well, at this moment, I think that Team SMG should be, and that's a should be punished for wasting all these opportunities to finish the game off. And right now, we are heading into, I don't know if it's gonna be one of the longest games today, but 22 minutes in, and there was multiple chances to finish the game, but each time the execution wasn't just there. The macro game was good, the micro game also was good, but the execution of the finish never ever existed for the side of Team SMG.
Which is crazy, right? Because they had so many opportunities like you guys talked about, and I think that speaks volumes. Nightmare Esports in this game, at least for game number 2, has done well at holding on, getting to the point where they are now. And even for Too Easy for Lexi, right, he had a very difficult early game, and they're still trying to work around with it. Miko even trying to find his own setups, as he should. But right now, I'd love to see Nightmare Esports contest for this Lord and take it from Team SMG if they can. They've got all the tools they need.
Jasmine there with the very good barrier to reset the Lord. The first turret for the side of Team SMG is still standing in the mid lane. So in a way, it's a bit more difficult for Nightmare Esports to really get some good pushes going.
Or
They're going for the conceal, but
Conceal.
Saxa!
Saxa gonna be the target here. Full force, hard guard there as well. Immortality gonna be popped. There's the kick as well. Saxa will fall. Team SMG waiting for the counter. Can they pull it off? Lord's still gonna be worked on. Too easy for Lexi, quite low as well. Does have the immortality available. Soul still looking for an ultimate to take. He's looking for the right one for the situation. Jasmine gonna go in. Saxa will fall. Cammy gets the kill. Trying to keep it together. Smooth has to get out of there. Has the immortality, but this is Nightmare Esports taking the Lord from Team SMG.
They are now getting punished. As I said, Team Nightmare are taking the advantage of that tremendous, ridiculously amount of opportunities that Team SMG have given them, and now Team SMG should pay the price. Team Nightmare are now ahead in gold, but that doesn't matter. Heading into 25 inside the game, I just think, and as I told you also, Arash, I told also the audience, it just takes one mistake to finish the game, and Team SMG so far have done a lot of mistakes.
That was a very costly mistake. Losing Saxa and using the hard guard on him even. What was the idea there? It's like they're trying to capture and trap Nightmare Esports on the side, but Nightmare Esports, throughout the whole game, have been going for a very straightforward approach at ending this game. And Team SMG are falling short. They might lose the base turrets. Can't Nightmare go for more?
They can go for more, and they can actually finish that game because the Lord haven't even been touched. It wasn't like even harmed. Look, even the minions are not now focusing on the Lord, rather Team SMG as well. So the minions are synchronized, everything is aligned. Team Nightmare might have the happy ending they were aiming for.
Right now, Conceal gonna be used. Lord making his way, bottom side, gonna charge in. Turret's gonna go down. Team SMG backs against the wall here. They're looking possibly at a game number 3. There's the Dragon form from Smooth, gonna keep them at bay. They have to take out the Lord. Team SMG does that. Can they stay in the game here?
Look at Cammy is trying to finish that game. He's trying to deal a ridiculous amount of damage, but Miko might go in.
Oh, Miko was looking for his own pick. Does have the immortality available. Not anymore. Takes a ball right there from Cammy, and now still going to be working on it. Base fully explodes. Nightmare Esports, can they end the game? Take it to a game 3, and they do.
They do end this, and they do now get the opportunity. We can now hear the crowd cheering up Team Nightmare. They have punished the deservable, punishable people, like the players. SMG gets punished by the hands of Team Nightmare, and right now they take us to the breaking point to game 3.
They have equalized against the favorites right here. Nightmare Esports just showing everyone that you cannot count them out, and it's never over until it's really over. Man, SMG, they had so many chances. What happened there? You have to wonder. After a game, that was so close, man. If they won that, that was a done deal. But now they're gonna be dragged into yet another game, and you have to really question and worry about the mental state of these players, man. That was a brutal loss.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it, right? There was so many things falling into place for Team SMG for that game, and then all of a sudden, even with a fully exposed base, they couldn't finish the game, right? So you're wondering, how did that happen? Yeah. How did they get such a lead on a team like Nightmare Esports? And again, Too Easy for Lexi had a tough time in the jungle, right? They continued to focus on him. And then at one point, it just seemed like things turned around in favor for Nightmare Esports, and they were able to hold on with a fully exposed base for so long, eventually winning a crucial Lord that allowed them to close the game out there.
Yeah, I think that Team SMG now, by heading back to the rooms where they are now discussing what did just happen. They just like a train hit Team SMG, because they have had a huge amount of opportunities just to finish this game off, but not a single time. They didn't even try to finish the game. I don't think that I've seen Team SMG try to touch the base.
I think they went very slowly for the base, and that's just not what you expect, right, from Team SMG. I thought they were going to go for dives, for huge team fights under the turrets, and just close it out especially knowing that they have a very early game-centric team composition. And maybe in that mid-game, especially towards the 20-minute mark, they were a bit late in adjusting towards that late game. They're still using the hard guard on the Baxia, where technically, right, using it on the Claude would make a bit more sense in those big team fights. They were just giving too many chances away, I think, to Nightmare Esports, and Nightmare took full advantage of it, man. Especially in that last fight. I feel like Team SMG, it's almost like they were predicting that Nightmare Esports were going to do something a bit crazy, a bit unexpected. But Nightmare Esports, they just went with the straightforward approach. They just came in, went for the single pickoff, and SMG were just caught completely off guard.
And I don't know, like, in that game alone, I don't even know who I would personally give MVP to for Nightmare Esports, because I feel like, well, what happened is, again, Too Easy for Lexi had a tough time in the jungle, and they really just kind of gathered around him, right? They kind of picked him up from that moment, because we've all been there, right? Playing in the jungle, you're being focused on, you're losing your buffs, you can't compete against the objectives, so you have to rely on your team, and I think that's exactly what happened there for Nightmare Esports, right? All of them collectively helped bring the team to where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Maybe Cammy.
Who?
You think?
Cammy?
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 I mean, that
Maybe.
Bruno in the late game was doing a
let's
lot
see.
of damage. You're going to see soon. I feel like he was very aggressive in how he was playing, and he just saw opportunities and he just kept going in. But no, it's going to be So-So actually on that Valentina. Like we mentioned, a lot of damage, very subtle. You don't really see it come out like the Bruno damage, but you leave the Valentina alone and you are going to absolutely pay the price. Not to mention, part of the reason why they were able to find opportunities is due to the stolen hard guards, the just stolen ultimates available that he was able to take full advantage of and just make plays for his team. I think it's quite well deserved.
Yeah, and also that answers the question, if you had one chance or one opportunity, seize everything I've ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip?
Let it slip away.
That's the song you listen to before starting today. We get it. We got it.
You got to get hyped there, man. But yeah, So-So, I think, again, quick shout out, right? Honorable mention to Cammy as well, because in the late game, of course, the marksmen are doing a lot of damage as well, and he was very aggressively moving forward, using his second skill, his dash, not defensively, but even aggressively, knowing that his team has the momentum. Now let's take a look at some of the highlights right here. I think it's going to begin all the way in the beginning, brought to you by Grab. And for the most part, right, in the early stages of the game, until minute 15, there's not a lot that Nightmare Esports can do when they're up against a Baxia-Angela combo. I mean, some of these fights looks so bad for them, but somehow, some way, abusing that Angela, SMG are able to just turn it around. But unfortunately, that is an early game strat. It cannot be carried over to the mid to late game.
And you have said that it is a disgusting combo when they just like took it as in the second pick. So they have executed it perfectly, or do you think that there was more to it?
I think they executed the early game perfectly, right? Baxia being so dangerous, and Miko, just when you're focusing on the Baxia, the troll comes up behind you. Everything really works well, but I think in the mid game, they kind of adjusted quite late. This is one of the first moments here where Saksa just got caught off guard. The hard guard comes in late, but the hard guard can't really shield you from all the damage.
Yeah.
Part of why the Angela was so good with the Baxia is that you can keep healing the Baxia, and it's a lot of work to really shave down the HP bar of the Baxia. So when it comes in the last second, it really wasn't enough. And here, again, 1v3, they expected the hard guard to make it a numbers advantage, but no, with the stolen hard guard, So-So just made that play happen. And this is one of the first times where they had a Lord, but did not get a lot from it.
And actually, at some point, I think that Saksa was taken away in a blink of an eye. So he couldn't actually respond. And also, I wouldn't like blame Stormy because at some points, the damage is just so high to take that, to defend or like to manage to get that healing opportunity or even fuse your item. But right here, this was the first chance.
Yeah, you have to like call some attention to Sasa right here. He has the hard guard on him. He had the shield fully available, but he wasn't moving forward with it. He wasn't using it to absorb some of the damage and distract some of the members of Nightmare Esports. So I think there's a bit of miscoordination because we've seen some members from the side of SMG get the hard guard, but not go in and use it to its full potential. And that is something you need to be doing, especially in the late game.
And also, like, if you mentioned the hard guard, you talked about the Angela, you have to mention also that there was the Claude, so it was also a perfect combo. They had multiple different combos with the Yuzong, with the Baxia, and also with the Claude.
That's the thing, too. If you look at the timer, right, and now that they're pushing in the base here to end the game, they held on. Their base was fully exposed at around the 16-minute mark, right? Nightmare Esports pretty much just held on for, at that point, 8+ minutes. They kept it together. They ended the game when they had to, and that's the downside. And if you're Team SMG, you know exactly why they took that Bruno first pick.
Yeah. Yeah, they managed to snowball that. They managed to extract the specific amount of damage, or the needed amount of damage out of that Bruno. But after all, we saw that the Valentina got the MVP, and Team SMG have just lost, a terrible loss against Team Nightmare, because they have given them that chance on a silver platter.
Yeah, if you look at the stats here even, the Turtles and the Lords very heavily favor SMG, but they're just unable to close it out as dominantly as they would like to. Looking at the emblems for Jasmine, though, just realized that he went to the support item, actually. So more movement speed, more regeneration coming from him, and he was able to find wild charges towards Sasa, but for the most part, right, he was just really struggling to get away from damage in the early game. You take a look at some of the items, as we were comparing earlier, the Claude not needing the boots is an advantage, but when the teams aren't really chasing each other down, then it doesn't really matter. Cammy is still with no boots, and even though he doesn't have the BMI, that mobility, he is still doing great. And with the Windtalker as well, he just has a lot more attack speed, so a lot more damage output, especially after the Blazing Duet has been used, right? With the Blazing Duet, you have a lot of damage output, but after that, you have shred damage. Whereas for Cammy on the late game, especially when an Angela or Claude is just stuck in the front for a second too long, those crits are hitting for 1,600 damage, man. You cannot stand there.
Yeah, and also Team SMG, like bringing up like a point that have been said in the draft, they cannot deal with that Bruno. So the Bruno was justified, and as a first pick, which was like a little bit new to us to see him getting as a first pick in this current meta. But do you think that we will see Bruno getting banned at the first phase from Team SMG in the next match?
It might be contested, man. I mean, I think any team would like to have a Bruno right now. It's strong in the lane, decent mid game as well, and strong late game. So there's not a huge downside to the playstyle. If you compare to Claude, for example, good mid to late game if you have your core items and your power spikes. Right. But in the early game, you will kind of struggle a bit in the lane. You kind of have to try and survive there instead of bully. So I think that having the kind of pressure in the early game, especially if you can secure a good jungler, really makes for a very solid early game strat.
Yeah, but there is something really interesting in the screen right now. Team Nightmare only needed one Lord to finish the job.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this at the composition, they have the stronger late game just because they do have magical damage to play around with. When you have an Angela, that's why you have to try and take full advantage of it. You can't really rely on an Angela to do damage per se, but when she goes into the hard guard, when you're getting that huge shield, you have to try and take some damage away from your teammates into that shield. That's the only real way you can use the Angela in that late game. And I think SMG just weren't doing it as often as they really could be, and that was one of the main problems. If you want to take a look at the items from Saxa, by the way, he still did some swaps here, Winter Truncheon in the end stage of that game, but he even went for the Twilight Armor, knowing that the burst critical damage coming in from the Bruno is just way too painful. Looking at the cards right here, Cammy is still going to be the rich guy, but the carry is going to be so. Like we mentioned, Bruno in the team fight is doing a lot of DPS, but that subtle damage from the Valentina is what will get you before you know it.
Yeah. As I told you, in a blink of an eye, just like they took the life of Saxo, they just like removed him from the Land of Dawn. He got banished from the Land of Dawn. So I think that at some points, Team Nightmare just used the late game to their best advantage.
And that's what makes me wonder. You know, I'm sure some people, even back at home, are wondering about that draft that Nightmare Esports showed. And even there's a lot of people that are very vocal how they feel about Dairoth in jungle, right, for the most part, because he's not your typical choice to go ahead and put there. But in this essence, the way that it worked, even with all those defensive items that we see built up, because you have the Dairoth alone, and then you pair it up with Kami, who builds up and pretty much just scales really well. That's why Bruno was such a big pick for a lot of teams. The damage is insane, and we saw that towards the end, right? At one point, all it takes is a couple hits, maybe 2, 3, to take out even some of the tankiest heroes in the game right now with someone like that combination, the Bruno and the Dairoth.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
You have to wonder as well if it's all planned, because they have the Khalid in the EXP lane, and you can see the difference in impact here when you have that aggressive emblem set. He was able to actually, I think, stand toe-to-toe to Smooth, even though due to the gangs and everything, Smooth was able to get a bit of a snowball going on. I think it was 3-0 in the early stage of the game. But afterwards, right, it's almost as if every time he goes in, SMG have to react. Because previously, we saw that the Khalid can be kind of ignored, but with so much penetration right there, it's just a bit too dangerous. And if you look at the team fight participation stats here, I think you can see for SMG, it's a very clumped up together style. And for Nightmare, it's all about making sure that Too Easy for Lexi is participating. And the fact that he has 92% kill participation, it does show that he is, participating. But it also shows that there's a lot of fights near the Lord, right? Because that's where he would be, and that's where he can actually get a lot of his physical damage shred, his physical defense reduction to try and take down the members of SMG.
Yeah, but actually I feel kind of sad for Saksa because look, he got 200k damage dealt upon him. So this guy have handled a lot of damage. He soaked in a lot of damage. But there is a question. Do you think that the draft itself as a whole played a huge role in the game, or was it the opportunities that made it possible for Team Nightmare to come back?
I think it's both, right? The fact that SMG were able to get so ahead in the early game is because of the draft, right? It's a good draft with a lot of mobility, a lot of outplay potential,